At just 37, New Zealand's new Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, is the latest world leader to come to power in their 30s. Emmanuel Macron became French president at 39, Austria's Sebastian Kurz is just 31, and Ireland's leader is 39. So is this a shift in the global political landscape towards the youth? For more, I'm joined by Dr. Helen Brents from the Faculty of Law at the Queensland University of Technology. Helen, thanks very much for your time this evening. We're seeing so many leaders, so many young leaders come to power. What's behind this rise of the young leader?
Thank you very much for having me. I think it's a really interesting time that we're seeing the rise of so many young people coming in to lead both their parties and then lead their countries in particular ways. I think it points to interesting politics around the globe that is suggesting that issues are not being addressed in traditional parties and by perhaps older leaders, and this move to enabling young people to get their issues on the agenda in particular ways.
When we talk about young people in politics, we hear a lot about young people being disillusioned with politics. So is this them taking the power back? Is this them being attracted to politics in a way to try and change it?
Yes, I think in some ways what we can see is that the leaders who are getting elected at these younger ages, in their 30s and so on, are pointing to a fact that young people actually aren't disillusioned, that when leaders speak to youth issues and can mobilise that vote, that they are heard and they do get their voices on the agenda. Obviously, political leaders becoming elected to parties or to lead countries isn't the only way young people are involved in politics, though also I think it's a broader spectrum that we need to pay attention to here.
And being young, they're also up to speed with social media, which in elections can have huge amounts of power. Is that a part of the reason as well?
I think social media has definitely changed the political landscape, and I do think that there are younger politicians who have caught on much faster. That isn't to say there aren't older politicians that are using social media well as well, but I think there's definitely a trend to those who can get on top of it and use it and mobilise and engage and talk to the voters in that really direct way that things like Twitter or Facebook allow, definitely gives them an advantage in terms of being on top of the issues that matter to that part of the electorate.
So now that we're seeing more young leaders, will we see more young people engaging in the political process?
I hope so. I hope that we see more young people. I think that young people have long been engaging in the political process. We see young people coming into these positions through formal mechanisms, becoming party leaders and winning elections. But young people have also been involved in recent years very strongly in campaigning at grassroots level, both through social media and also on the streets in their local communities and things. And I think we overlook that at our peril, I think, in understanding what's going on in the politics, both here in Australia and globally.
And generally speaking, are we seeing these different young leaders having any policy similarities? Are they perhaps more progressive in their policies?
I think there are some young people, some young leaders that are progressive in that way, and I think they often get touted. So we see Justin Trudeau, we see Jacinda Ardern, these kind of people who the discussion is around how they've appealed to young people to win. But I think that it's too simplistic to say there are youth issues in this way. We only have to look to people like Kurz in Austria, who has politics that are very different from what we may see, think that young people, progressive politics is involved with. So.
And I guess one of the big questions is, with these younger leaders, is do they have the experience to lead these countries, given their age?
I think they do. I think that if they've gone through the electoral process and they've proven their merit, and the voters believe that they have the experience and the information they need to lead, then they should lead. We've seen several young people, maybe not as leaders, but who have been elected as politicians who have then re-won elections. So Murray Black, who was elected at 20 years old in the UK Parliament, she's just been re-elected. And even here in Australia, Wyatt Roy, who again was elected at 20 and then re-elected. So they're clearly doing something right if their electorate wants to keep having them back, so to speak.
Absolutely. All right, Dr. Helen Brents, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.